What is this? Shitload of
Godzilla 2014.
Day? Huh?
Godzilla 2014, the movie that arguably brought back Godzilla from the dead in the early 2000s. This was the first Godzilla movie in 10 years after Final Wars, and the marketing in terms of toys around the time really only consisted of Movie Monster Series and Bandai America. You know, the good stuff. So looking back on it now, it's very interesting to think how the toy marketing for 2014 was gonna go. What would toys for a 2010s Godzilla even look like? And how would they even continue to look like in the future? Funnily enough, it's quite the strange evolution, and with the most recent release of 2014 merchandise, it's going to be hard to beat the newest addition to the 2014 figure line. But let's go through it step by step. So join me on this gambit as we go over the history of Godzilla 2014 figures. Also, I am very sick right now as of recording this video, so yeah, y'all are going to have to bear with me. So first, we need to go back to the very beginning with the first pieces of Godzilla 2014 merchandise. One small personal experience I want to bring up is when I saw probably fake toy leaks for 3 kaiju from the movie: Godzilla, Vishnu, and another mystery monster that I can't remember at all. The closest form of proof that I could find of these photos existing is the Vishnu one. I specifically remember there being a Godzilla one and one of a kaiju, in which the closest representation I could find is this piece of artwork. So I went through the effort of making my own mock-up versions of these 2 other leaks. Call me crazy, but I specifically remember seeing these in like 2013 or something. They could have been for something entirely different, but I swear these were real for a time on the internet. Anyways, other than that, there really weren't many other leaks I saw for this film before the movie dropped. So let's get into the stuff that actually existed. Starting with Bandai's small wave of Godzilla action figures they released for the movie, along with NECA and Jakks specific 2014 figures. For Bandai, they released the following. Don't go apeshit in the comments if I missed something. Smash Strike Goji, Tail Strike Goji, Atomic Roar Goji, Pack of Destruction Godzilla or Hulk Muto with either gray, blue, or red buildings, Destruction City Pack with Godzilla or Femmuto, 2 Goji 14 Vital figures with slightly different poses, one of which had a New York Comic Con exclusive, and finally a 2-pack of Chibi Goji and Hulk Muto. Oh wow, that was a lot. Yeah, I was honestly surprised going into this video to find out how much Bandai really did in terms of merchandise for this movie. Now, I do remember having the Tail Strike Goji, but I haven't been able to find him yet. But you know which one I still do have? Oh yeah, let's take a look at this guy. Oh man, here we are back in the review studio again with even more just rearranging and whatnot. It's always changing. So yeah, we're gonna be doing these sort of like in-person reviews of the figures of 2014 that I actually have. And the first ever one that I remember getting, besides I think it was the Tail Strike Godzilla, was the Atomic Roar version. I don't exactly remember how I got this figure. All I know is that one random day it was in my collection, and then another random day I realized it could do this. So yeah, that is this whole figure's gimmick, is the Atomic Roar inside, and you crank his legs this way and the atomic breath goes out like this. And once its whole light up gimmick and roar is done, you just yeah, you do that. That's how you put his atomic breath back in. So I mean, I'm not going to do like a full-on review. I'm just going to give my thoughts on the figure. I guess the first thing we'll go into is sculpt. Honestly, not that bad for like a kid's toy. I actually think the sculpt is very nice. I'm a big fan of like how the head shape looks on this. I feel like the paint is actually really nice on this too. They got the colors correct. And for articulation, yeah, definitely not 360, but he can move his arms this far back and then this far, whatever that direction is. Then obviously his legs go full about like there.
And I mean, obviously his mouth can do that. And tail, I mean, it's got like some motion in there, but not like literally anything. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is a fun kid's toy. I think at the time when this came out, I feel like this was pretty cool. And it did give us the confirmation that this Godzilla, this new American Godzilla, was going to have an atomic breath. So yeah, overall, this was pretty cool. I remember one time I scared my sister with this and she was not happy about that. So sorry about that, sis. I know that happened like 15 years ago at this point, but you know, I can still apologize. So yeah, overall, pretty cool little figure. I definitely do want to get the tail strike and the other one that they made in the future. They're not really that expensive, but yeah, this is the one that has always stuck around the longest, and I keep them at the very top of my shelf up there. So yeah, pretty cool figure.
So that was the bulk of the first Bandai figures for 2014. Now let's do a lightning review on the Jakks Pacific and NECA stuff. From what it seems, Jakks Pacific only did their giant 24-inch Godzilla. And no, I don't have this figure because I've already spent enough money this year.
Hey, Italian man! Huh? Ah!
Eventually I might get him, but even then I don't know where I'd put him since I'm running out of room here. For NECA though, they did 3 main releases. From smallest to biggest, they did a Godzilla 2014 for their Scalers line, a standard 6-inch Godzilla, and then a 12-inch Godzilla. Out of these 3, I have the Scalers thanks to my buddy since he gave me this as a Christmas present, and then I bought the 6-inch Goji 2014 from Toys R Us as a kid. Memories. Anyways, let's take a look at these.
Alright, Ian, so now we move on to the next segment, which is all of the stuff from Godzilla 2014 that NECA has released. So we'll just go over this one real quick since I still have them in the package. This is from their Scalers line. So basically, these Scalers are these little minifigures that you put on like your headphones or your earphone wires, and they just hang there, and they're like cool little accessories. This was a gift that one of my buddies gave me for Christmas, and you know, I used to have one of these as a kid, and he used to hang from my headphones. And I gotta tell you, they're heavy. They are really heavy little things. They're like little bricks that are weighing your headphones down. So just for the fun of it, I've just kept him in his package, and he's in my room. And I mean, going over the sculpt on what it looks like just in the box, I mean, it's a stylized Godzilla 2014, so it's not gonna be super accurate, but he's fun looking. He looks pretty cool. He's hanging there. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say about that. What does it say on the back? Hang them from the headphones, attach them to cables. These cute minis add a dose of cool to anything they can fit in their little hands around. Headphones and earbuds, computer cables, electronic cords, lanyards, video game cables, microphone cords, shoelaces. Shoelaces? Okay. Pull cords. What heights will your Scalers climb? Nothing. Because he's going to stay in that box for a while, unless if I decide to put him somewhere, which I might, we'll see. So, yeah, but anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the NECA stuff that they released for 2014. After a water break, because my throat's dry, I'm pretty sick while recording today's episode on the Sizemic channel. Ugh. My God, that's better. Okay. The NECA 6-inch Godzilla 2014 from their articulated line. So, funny enough, I've got a spicy opinion here. Well, I used to have a spicy opinion. I really didn't like the NECA sculpt that they did for 2014. I don't really know why, but there was just something about this sculpt that I just really did not like. And I think the biggest thing was the head. And honestly, I still kind of see it now. I don't know why, man. There's just something about this Godzilla's head, this Godzilla 2014's head, where I just don't like how it looks. I think the rest of the body looks fine, but there's just something about that head, man. I don't know what they did, but they did something to kind of fumble the bag there. But I think the rest of the body looks fine in the paint. From what I've seen, obviously it's kind of hard to tell, like decipher the paint in this lighting. But from what I've seen, whenever I have the big light on, it's pretty good. I like what they did with the paint. It's very subtle, and I like that. I think it's a little shiny. He's a little glossy. He's a little wet, but it's still, I'm a big fan of it. As for articulation, I mean, this was one of like NECA's first releases for the Godzilla line. So there's not like a whole lot of articulation here. Like you can get some good poses. I've not really posed him around that much, so I don't really know. I'm not a big fan of how the arm articulation is handled. I just think it's kind of weird. But I'm pretty sure this guy was like $25, so it's like, you're not gonna get the best articulation. I think for what they did, it's fine. I like this figure and I will continue to keep him in my collection. I think he's cool. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say on him, honestly. I'm really trying to think if there's anything else that I'll say. I do like I guess for one thing, one little detail that I like is I do like the bendy wire tail here. I do enjoy that. I think that is pretty cool. It's pretty stiff, but it is cool that we do get some bendy wire stuff there, some soft goods basically. So yeah, let me get the scalers. Overall, I'll say these two are pretty good, and I'm still so bitter that NECA had to lose the license for Godzilla because they really started cooking and then it was taken away. So yeah, thanks Playmates, thanks for doing that, Jesus Christ.
And then finally, for the last of the bulk for 2014 merchandise whenever the movie was released, we have the Movie Monster Series Godzilla and Hulk Muto. And yet we didn't get a Femmuto. Bandai, what the fuck? Besides that strange choice from Bandai, let's take a look at the Movie Monster Series Hulk Muto, since that's the one out of the two that I have.
Alrighty, so we're going to be taking a look now at one of the two Movie Monster Series Godzilla 2014 figures that they released, and that being the Hulk Muto, or the male Muto. So, I guess for the context on how I got this figure and how it's still here today, is I remember getting this version at G-Fest 2017. I'm so old. And I remember getting him, and I remember I still do have the tag somewhere, but I remember I almost turned this figure into like a custom Chupacabra figure. Don't ask why I thought that was a good idea, and I'm glad I didn't, because I did not realize how valuable this figure was going to be on the aftermarket. Oh, shit! But anyways, besides that, I remember for the longest time, I actually lost this figure. I had no idea where it was, and I was like, damn, it just must be gone in the Aether now. And then, whenever I was moving into this new area, I remember seeing in a box, and there he was. He was just sitting there. He was just in one of the boxes. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was either just going to wait for an articulated figure of him to release, or I was just going to spend like the $200, which I'm glad now I don't have to do that. But anyways, looking at the figure itself in terms of sculpt, I mean, honestly, I would say this is a little under detailed and a little underpainted for Movie Monster Series, especially because like, why are his arms so orange? Do y'all remember them looking this orange in the movie? Because I don't. I remember the inside part can turn like a reddish orange, but not this. This is kind of strange. What the hell, Bandai? But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a fine figure. It's a Movie Monster Series figure. What do you expect? I think this was, for me at the time, this was kind of like the statement that MonsterArts. Movie Monster Series was just like, we don't give a fuck anymore. We're just going to make these Play-Doh looking figures. One thing that I do kind of find interesting is how the wings are sculpted and folded like this. It might be accurate, but I feel like they would more so like bend like this. And I don't condone doing this. Maybe not, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I just messed up my figure for no reason. But yeah, overall, I think it's a fine figure, and I'm glad that I have him because he is definitely a rare collectible. Do I ever plan on getting the Movie Monster Series Goji 2014? No. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a fine figure. It's cool that they did this, but I'm not gonna lie, it's like, where's his mate? Where's the Femmuto? Where's the female Muto at? Why they didn't do that, I have no idea. So yeah, cool figure, but it does have like some strange things about it that I would have probably changed. So, yeah.
And with that, that's the bulk of the 2014 merchandise that came out around the time of release. So now let's jump ahead in time a bit for merchandise that was released after the movie. SH MonsterArts, you know who they are, and people were hyped for this, at the time, new and super advanced kaiju figure line to make the new and shiny Godzilla. Surely this figure was going to be amazing. Ugh. Yeesh. Well, okay. From what we were seeing, it's not super accurate, but it still looks pretty good. I'm sure that it'll be great in person. Gee willikers. Yeah, the first SH MonsterArts Goji 14 was a slip-up in terms of looks and quality control to a majority of the Godzilla community. Honestly, I can't blame them. Now, I don't have the original, instead I got the Dorito variant of this figure.
Alrighty, now here we go. The SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2014 poster version. Now you might be wondering, Sizemic, why on earth would you buy the poster version instead of the normal version? Because why are you just not a normal human being? And the answer to that is, well, I mean, I was gonna say just, I don't know. I think it looks cool. But really, I started seeing a bunch of reviews on the SH MonsterArts 2014, like the regular version, and I saw that a lot of people were not the happiest with it. So I kind of was just like, I don't really need it, which honestly worked out for the best considering what we're about to go over next. But anyways, let's not get too far on it. The SH MonsterArts poster version of Godzilla 2014. And honestly, I do like this figure. You know, now with the hindsight of the next company that we're about to go into, or the next company that we're about to go into, I think it's cool that we do have this version of 2014 because it honestly just kind of looks like the PS5, or not PS5, the PS4 Godzilla game 2014 with that stylized sculpt. And I like that a lot. And honestly, there was a time where I was considering repainting this guy to look like that. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't do that. But yeah, I remember I got this guy on eBay for like 60 bucks. And I mean, I got what I put my money in because, like, you know, inaccurate, not even the right color scheme. And I think the biggest thing for me is the tail articulation. It's just, I mean, look at that. It's just so, and I think if I try and extend it too much, it'll break. So I'm not going to do it, but I mean, just, I mean, yeah, cannot hold a pose for the life of it. So yeah, I mean, regardless with my complaints, this is just a figure that I just genuinely wanted, and I'm glad that I have him because I think the red does look pretty cool on this figure. Oh my god, I'm sorry, my allergies are just yeesh. Like, let's go over like the sculpt and whatnot. You know, besides it not being accurate, I do think the sculpt is really nice on this figure. I like that it's very like craggly. It's like a giant articulated rock. I like the spines. I like how big the spines are on this Godzilla design. I'm a big fan of that. And as for articulation, I mean, it's SH MonsterArts, so even with the QC and whatnot, you're still going to get some pretty good articulation in there. And yeah, I don't think this guy ever came with any accessories and whatnot. And I mean, that's just kind of classic SH MonsterArts. What do you expect? But yeah, overall, with my complaints, I'm still a fan of this figure. I do like looking at him from time to time. And at the time, it was just cool to finally get this figure. So yeah, overall, pretty cool little release. I don't really mess around with him that much. Will I ever get the regular 2014 or the Spitfire? Probably not, considering I have the I have a better articulated 2014 that sits on my main shelf. You can probably see him behind me, but we'll go into that here in a minute. So yeah, pretty cool little figure. I'm glad I got the poster version, and you know, I like having him in my collection. I don't know what to say to you.
This figure definitely has its problems, but I still enjoy messing around with it sometimes. It's an overall decent figure. So yeah, after the original release, this red poster version, and then an atomic breath version which apparently fixed some of its problems, gave it an atomic breath accessory, and a Femmuto head accessory. That was all from Tamashii for 2014. We still have not gotten a male or female Muto from them at all, and I really doubt we will ever see that from them. And even if they did, who would buy them? I probably still would. I don't care about my money. Y'all know this. So after the three SH MonsterArts 2014 releases, 2014 merchandise began to sparse out more besides the occasional statue from X+. I'm not a big X+ guy, so I'm not going to go into these, but I'll pull up some photos of these statues they released. Obviously, they look amazing, but I only have 2 X+s in my entire collection, so I'm not really the right guy to go over these. With the release of Kong Skull Island and then King of the Monsters with the new and improved design for our Monsterverse King, the 2014 design and the potential merch for him began to fade more and more. Okay, real quick, this is like editing Sizemic here as I'm making this video. I realized something that I didn't bring up in this video, but for Skull Island, you know, him, I realized we didn't get any, like, we didn't really get any 6-inch figures for that movie either. Like, yeah, we got the we got this from that company,
and we got those figures. But we really didn't get anything from, like I said, MonsterArts or Movie Monster Series. We didn't get any of that. Sure, X Plus did it as well, but we didn't get anything up until Hiya. These are the first Kong Skull Island 6-inch figures that we have. The Skullcrawler is great, one of Hiya's best releases, but Kong, we're gonna have to make a video on him because what in the world happened?
Flint and steel.
But there was something that did release way after 2014's time in the spotlight. Out of nowhere, basically, Playmates released their own 2014 figure, and this was a part of what basically is their legacy line of monsters. The figure itself looks fine in my opinion, but I really don't have a use for him, so he is not part of the Sizemic collection. So with this singular release, for me at least, it sent a message out that 2014 has not been forgotten, and good merch of him will still be on its way. And now, recently, in the year of 2025, a certain company has made a brand new figure of Godzilla 2014. And my god, this is the one to beat all Godzilla 2014 figures so far. Enter Hiya! Hiya coming in to save the day once again. This is the Hiya Exquisite Basic Godzilla 2014. And let me say, this is the one. This is the peak of Godzilla 2014 figures. Accurate sculpt, great paint, good articulation, reasonable price, a tail that can hold poses, fucking fist! Yeah, this is the king right here. Now, I do have some slight complaints. Like, I do think the head could have used some work. The teeth are painted strange, and I think they went overboard with the brown on his stomach. But still, Hiya cooked and served a great figure. This is absolutely worth putting in your collection. This is the treatment Godzilla 2014 has deserved. And what's great is Hiya has already put up an atomic version of this guy, and it looks even better than the original release. So this figure will also be dethroned in the future for the atomic version. And knowing Hiya, they will probably do a 2.0 of 2014 in the future. So even these two could potentially be dethroned. Regardless, let's get back to the original release for now. What can I say? If any other company wants to beat Hiya in terms of quality on their 2014, that company is going to have to work overtime to beat this. Not only that, but look! Hiya has also released a Femmuto articulated figure for Goji to battle. Hiya just cannot stop winning! Now all we need is Hokumuto, and Hiya will officially be crowned the king of kaiju figures. It's interesting how history has repeated itself. Back then, we didn't have a Femmuto to go with her mate, and now it seems the roles are reversed. Interesting how fate works like that, huh? And so here we are, the end of the road in terms of what's been released for our legendary king. Sure, I could have gone into the statues, masks, clothings, and other things, but really I wanted to stick to the stuff that I and a big majority of the Godzilla fandom only collects, and that being the 6 to 12 inch figures. As we enter a new dawn of Godzilla marketing with Hiya, I am hoping we do get a Hokumuto from them, and hell, I'll say it, I hope we could also get both of the Mutos from SH MonsterArts. I want them to finally fill out the 2014 cast. With Spiral Studio revealing their Hokumuto statue, it just gives me hope that these three will start to see more merchandise made for them. After all, these three were the ones that helped take off the Monsterverse, so they deserve some love and recognition too. Along with Shinomura, but I highly doubt we'll ever see a figure of him be made by one of these companies, but who knows, we'll see. So with all of that, that's going to be it for now. I hope you enjoyed this journey through time, and who knows, I might do more figure history videos like this in the future, but for now, we've reached the end. So, I'm Sizemic, subscribe if you're interested, drink plenty of water, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Peace out. Oh, I shouldn't have recorded when I was sick.